Well, here we are again, back at it with another monthly market update. I am Callie Ritchie, your broker and owner over at Ritchie Realty. And if you're a realtor, your real estate coach. So, as we do this every month, we are looking at the real estate market as it pertains to Dallas Fort Worth, specifically the counties, the major counties in the Metroplex, be it Dallas County, Collin, Denton, and Tarrant County. So, we're going to take a look at what is happening year to date, what's happening year over year, and maybe some projections on what is to come in 2025. So this is going to take us all the way through November. I know it is December right now. We have a few more days left in December, but we still have a lot of closings to close out before I can reveal the final numbers for December. But maybe I'll have a few projections for you. Now, as I share my screen and get that teed up, let me just tell you the reason why I do this is because we are very dedicated to working with our buyers and our sellers and our investors so that as you are jumping into the real estate realm, you have all the knowledge, all the tools that you need to be the very best at what you do when it comes to one of the biggest investments you'll probably ever have, and that's real estate. All right, guys, so let's just jump right on into it. I just want to go straight to the numbers. Here we go. What's happening with sales price? What's happening with inventory? What's happening with sales here in the Metroplex? Well, let's take a look. Year to date, as you can see, if we're going to go from January to November, we closed out November with a median sales price of $400,000. We started in January with $389,000. Now, we did see, as you can see right here, from October to November, we saw it come down a couple of $1,000, not significant, all right? So don't get all worked up about that. But as you can see, still year to date, we are up by about 2.82% change. Now, I know that might sound kind of crazy because some of you are thinking, oh my gosh, I'm seeing prices just drop, 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 home staying on the market. Well, yes, that has been occurring, and that is a normal thing that happens towards the latter part of the year. So part of this is seasonal, right? But yes, we did see a very different market this year, and we did see the curve heighten in April and then start coming down, where we normally see the curve heighten in June, July, and then start coming down. Now, projections for what's to come December and into the next year, stay tuned for that. Let's continue on and take a look at what's happening with all the other data that is very important to us as we are able to formulate those projections. So your days on market have increased slightly year to date by about 3%. We're about 68 days on market. That means the time that you go active to the time that you are under contract. Our months of supply of inventory. Now, this is where I really want people to tune into, because if you've been following me, you know that buyer's market is when we're over 6 months supply of inventory. Some say 5 months supply of inventory. So if you can see right here at 5 months supply of inventory, we have certainly seen the pendulum start to shift from 3.7 to 5 months. So that's a 35% increase. That is significant. Now, why has that happened? Well, guys, look at the active inventory. The more inventory that we have hitting the market, that is the homes that are all on the market right now. We've gone from 15,000 to over 23,000. That's a 57% jump in just the inventory that's on the market. Hence, that explains why we have more month supply of inventory. But one other factor that leads into that is because of the number of sales. We have seen our sales actually increase since January. Okay, that's great, but they're still not up to where we need them to be to absorb all the other active listings that are hitting the market. Now, that leads us to one other thing, the expired listings. And if you're tuning into this, you might be one of those that has a house on the market and it hasn't been able to sell, so you canceled it or it expired. You're not alone. Look at the numbers here. We started off in January with about 6,500. Now we're at about 8,300. Wait for December's numbers. You're going to see those jump significantly, I promise you. Now, all that being said and done, okay, we can see that year to date, we are still up. That's the most important thing to you if you are a homeowner, that our median sales price has still been on the rise. Not significant, but hey, we'll take any increase that we could possibly get, correct? Maybe not so good for a buyer, but if you're a homeowner, that's good news for you. All right, let's go and take a look at what is happening year over year. Okay, so that means we're taking November stats from last year and comparing that to where we are this November. If we looked at the median sales price back in November of 2023, we're really not significantly different than we're $10 off of our median sales price, guys. That's really kind of nothing, right? Now, you do see the days on market have increased. We do again see that month supply of inventory has significantly increased. Again, our active listings have significantly increased, and our number of sales also have increased even from last November to where we are today. And that's great. And I remember last November, right? I've been doing this for about 15 years now. So I remember last November quite well. And I remember it being a very struggling month. So we seeing that little bit of increase has been a little bit more of a relief for our sellers and for those in this industry. Nonetheless, our expired listings year over year are still on the increase. So let's just take that and summarize that really quick here. Their summary. As you can see, median sales price, we're up. Woohoo! 2.82%. Not significant, but we'll take it, right? Days on market, those have begun to increase up by 3%. Month supply of inventory up 35%. Active listings up 57%. Number of sales, they are down 28%. And expired listings, they're up 26%. Now, if you're a realtor, there is something that I want you to tune into and follow me as we talk more about these expired listings. If you are a seller and have experienced this, I want you to stay tuned for a little quick tip that I have if you're experiencing this on some things that you can do to resurrect your listing. We're going to talk about that in another video, so make sure you look for that. All right, so what is that? Let's just take this and let me explain this. So if we take the major components, we've got more days on market, more inventory on the market, more active listings that are hitting the market than what we've seen in the previous years, and we don't have the sales, what does that equal? Expired or canceled. There you go. That's what's happening. And again, I just want to reiterate, if you're in this boat, you're not alone. There are so many people out there that are experiencing this. And my projections are that by the end of December, because December, it's like people are, we're going to see a lot of expired listings come here as we close out December. So stay tuned for that. If you're a seller, if you're a buyer, if you are a realtor, I've got some really, really, really great tips on what you can do, like I said, to resurrect the listing. And if you're a realtor, how you can go in and help people that need your help. They just don't know that you're out there to help them, how you can go about there and help those sellers who are still needing to sell their home. All right, so let's talk a little bit about looking ahead. All right. And actually, before I do that, I really want to just zone in on one thing. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here for a hot minute. Focus on me here and hear me say this. The fact that we are still appreciating, and I know there's this whirlwind of things going on with people saying homes are sitting on the market, prices are coming down, all this negative stuff that's happening, interest rates are high. And let me tell you, I think I heard 7% is where we're at right now towards the end of December. When we thought that the interest rates were going to be coming down, they've actually started to go up. I want to talk about that a little bit too. But nonetheless, despite all that negativity, isn't it interesting that prices are still on the rise? So for those of you that thought the market was going to crash or, all this stuff was happening, we're not seeing that. The data is not supporting it. Now, I know we still have December results to come up, but I just don't see that we are going to be year to date numbers are not going to support that we have declined in our prices. So stay tuned for the December report to come up with that. All right, let me go back to our screen share. Let's talk a little bit about the future. And when I say the future, I mean as we kind of know where we're going to be in December, but what does the future hold for us as we look at 2025. And I will say we're going to do more reports on this later coming up, but I just want to give you a quick snapshot on, we went from COVID all the way to where we are 5 years later, right? We have just been on this roller coaster ride. Let's look ahead. What's going to happen with mortgage rates? Drum roll. All right, as you can see here, fourth quarter, where we are right now. And we did start, a little bit lower in the sixes, and 6.67 is what they had projected. The average from all three of these entities. Yes, we're above that now. We are, but they are still expected to come down. Now, I have been hearing interest rates coming down to 5% for 2 years now. We haven't seen it. And guys, I don't know that we're going to see it come 2025. There's a great possibility we may not see that. And here's the things that are affecting that. Now, I know everybody says, well, the Fed's met and they keep dropping the rate. Well, that's the Fed rate. The mortgage rates do not follow the Fed rate. They do to a certain degree. Typically and standardly, we see them trend about 2% from the Fed rate. But why that's not happening right now is until we get a handle of the inflation, until there's still some anxiety until a new president takes office, regardless of who that president is, it still has some anxiety about what's happening. I know some people are concerned still about the economy. So all those things and the employment rate, right? Until we get some of those things handled, we're just not going to see any kind of relief, significant relief on those rates. So as we look at those projections for 2025, we can see that perhaps we're going to get down to the lower sixes. So that's a very conservative drop in rates. Let me say this to you if you are thinking about buying, okay? What did I just show you on the median sales price? They've increased, not significantly, but almost 3%, right? So despite the interest rate. So if you're waiting on those rates to drop to the fives, we don't know when that's going to be, guys. Do you want to prolong your dream of home ownership? Are you going to stay where you are for I don't know how much longer, or do you want and then end up paying more at the end of the road for it? Because let's take a look at, well, let me just say this here, just a little backing from Freddie Mac, okay? Freddie Mac is saying the lower mortgage rates are expected to boost the housing market, but the lift will be very, very modest given the continued tightness in the existing inventory. And see this, home buyers staying on the sidelines expecting further rate declines. That's who I'm speaking to. Those of you that are waiting and expecting on those further rate declines, we could see them, but there's got to be some other things that happen for that for us to see those rates drop. And we do see a lot of buyers on the fence waiting. And my suggestion is, well, waiting can still cost you. And if you ever want to know about that, go to my video on why waiting does cost you money in the long run. All right, what about home sales? All right, you just saw me talk about home sales that have been just down from where we were. And this gives us some positive hope. And I really already kind of seeing this happen as I've seen my own business start to pick up over the last couple of weeks. And yes, it's December. But we have gone from, back prior to COVID, 6 to 6.5, million sales, home sales in the US. See, we saw that peak, during COVID at 6.9 and then started to trickle back down. We had our lowest sales this year. I thought last year we had low sales, but we even came in lower this year. And I think that anybody in the industry has seen that unless you've been pivoting in a different manner. Nonetheless, here's the hope. We're going to have more sales in 2025. That's the projection, and that's what I'm going to go with. That's what I'm telling everybody. Be prepared. I'm telling my agents get prepared. That is what that's I don't know what percentage. I should have calculated that for you, but if we have more sales, there's more opportunities out there for you as a buyer, for you as a seller, and for you as a realtor. Remember, I'm your real estate coach. Let's talk about that. All right, let's see about home price forecast, because that's of importance too, right? Where did I say that we were just a minute ago? Let me go back to it. We're at 2.82 as of November. In December, I think we're going to still not significantly be above that, okay? But we could see a slight increase in that, maybe a slight decrease in that, but not significant. I don't think we're going to be under the 389 that we started with, okay? So if we were to say that's a 2.82% change in sales, now we're looking at on average 3%. So about the same thing. More sales, lower interest rates, and a slight increase, maybe a slight increase on our sales price. Again, for those of you that are sitting on the line waiting to buy that dream home, it's time to get into the business as of now. So I hope that this information that you have learned today, that you've heard me talk about, helps you to make the very best decisions when it comes to buying, selling, or investing. And if you're a realtor, make sure that we're in touch with each other, because there's going to be some amazing things, amazing opportunities that are there in 2025. Amazing opportunities, not just for our buyers, not just for our sellers, but for you as a realtor. So if you want to know more, hit me up on the back line. Otherwise, stay tuned here in a couple of weeks as we do a wrap up for 2024 and have a little bit more predictions on 2025. Thanks for tuning in.